Carcass is a short psychological horror game where you play as a girl who's given a strange and bizarre set of tasks by a shadowy figure. The game is available on itch.io. Atmosphere. Carcass is an unsettling game. From the very introduction, you're given a bleak portrayal of life on Earth, or what's left of it. A world where the Earth itself is a carcass, drained of life. This sets the tone immediately, but what reinforces the alien feel the game has is a cutscene that plays at the beginning, showing a deal between some soldiers and some insectoid figures. They talk of sacrifice. The tone only gets more unsettling from here once you start playing and are given a goal. The underground bunker-like place you inhabit is filled with piles of trash and a short viewing distance. Things come looming out of the darkness and it adds more uncertainty to the game. After speaking to a figure, the goal becomes to carry bodies to the examination table, cut them open, and devour their insides, but only the right things. This is really unpleasant, but luckily there's no real animations for the heinous deeds in which you partake, but it does feel like what you're doing is irredeemable, though the way the events are processed leave you seeming like you were used, like the bodies you consumed. The atmosphere is full of dread, uncertainty, and feelings of repulsion and disdain. The body horror vibe kicks in with the game's other themes of slow transformations and its nightmarish presentation. And the way the figure speaks to you is with endearment, but also threatening. It's an odd combination of things that leads to a game that feels like it's asking you kindly to destroy yourself. For everyone. That's one Harry Mason. Scares. The fear is derived mostly from its unnerving feeling and the strange nature of the game. It does move about a mannequin and put it in odd places for you to walk into, but this is as close to a scare as the game gets. It mostly lets you stew in the feelings derived from the horrible things you're doing and the disturbing changes that take place during the game. The psychological horror aspect keeps the disturbing feeling ever crawling towards something that you're dreading. No good can come from the things you're doing, and the game is mostly scary in concept, a fact that doesn't go away. That's two Harry Masons. Sound design. The music is largely absent, leaving you alone with the quiet footsteps that echo the bunker. When the music does come in, when you're dissecting bodies on the operating table, an unsettling analog dirge plays, alien sounding. There are other tracks in the game with what is the scraping of a cello, an upsetting, disconcerting, and dissonant sound that feels like the absence of music and rather the feeling of uncertainty in a sound. The game's dialogue is expressed through analog bleeps and belches, and it's somehow menacing when paired with the surreal and sickly sweet dialogue of some characters. The rest of the sound effects come from the dissection sections, with the sound of eating organs really just sounding the same as biting into an apple, but it gets the point across. The sound design is simple but creative enough to let you forget that. That's three Harry Masons. Gore. There's clearly several mentions of gore in the game, but very little is shown in the way of blood and guts. But the unsettling transformations that take place during the game are disgusting, but blurred enough by the low polygraphics to leave your imagination to it. That's four Harry Masons. Story. Whilst the basic premise of the game revolves around you working towards the creation of this entity, there's things going on in the background that are harder to comprehend, with the relationship between the player character and the shadowy figure you're working with more obscure thanks to the dreams that you have every night. It feels as though the game benefits from the story and the events being more murky and hard to understand, with the actions you're asked to do layering on feelings of disgust for yourself. The game's story has a simple trajectory, but its direction is nowhere good. Making the final score 5 out of 5 Harry Masons. Carcass is a really unsettling game where you commit horrible acts for an end goal you don't fully understand. It's devoid of jump scares and really manages to keep the atmosphere going the whole time to reach an end. So just grit your teeth and bear it. Again, I'd like to remind you the whole thing is down to my opinion of horror games, and if you don't share this opinion, then that's cool, I get it. I'd like to point out that whilst I finished what I started, I did not like the way that I got there, and I advise that you don't go that way either. There are more horror reviews in the pipeline, and thanks for watching. Always go check out Bumps in the middle of the night. Peace.